if you could invest in something that doesn't just hold its value, but beats inflation? Something you can drive, enjoy, and still make money on. That's the magic of Porsche. Unlike most cars that lose value the moment you drive them off the lot, rare Porsches have consistently outpaced inflation for decades. Today, we'll explore why rarity, brand legacy, and real data make Porsche ownership more than just a car purchase. Stick around to learn how to spot the right Porsche for your collection and how these cars can become part of your wealth-building strategy. Have you ever wondered what your garage would look like with a Porsche that's worth more every year? Take a moment to imagine that feeling of opening your garage door to see an investment you can actually drive and enjoy. This isn't just a dream. It's happening for thousands of collectors right now. The data backs this up. While most investment markets fluctuate wildly, 7 of the 11 Hagerty Price Guide indexes saw decreases year over year in their latest update. But guess what? Porsche models were among the few that still posted double-digit annual gains. That's impressive in any economic climate. Let me share a striking example. A 1973 Porsche 911 Carrera 2.7 RS went for around $100,000 in 2004 to nearly $800,000 by 2014. That's a 700% gain in just 10 years. Try finding that kind of return in the stock market or real estate. Porsche stands out from the other car brands for several important reasons. Their story begins back in 1931 as Ferdinand Porsche's design office, but the first production car, the 356 Roadster, rolled out on June 8, 1948, in Mund, Austria. This wasn't just any sports car, it was the beginning of a legend. Surprising fact, the first Porsche wasn't actually built in Germany. The company started in Austria because of post-war restrictions. Only 52 cars were built in Austria before production moved to Stuttgart, Germany. Those original Austrian-built Porsches are now worth millions. Imagine finding one of those forgotten in an old barn somewhere. Since 1964, the 911's shape has stayed almost the same, making it the world's longest-running sports car design. Think about that for a moment. In a world where car designs change completely every few years, the 911 has maintained its distinctive silhouette for over 5 decades. This consistency has created a timeless icon that collectors instantly recognize and desire. Their racing success adds tremendous value to the brand. Porsche has won Le Mans 19 times and claimed 108 class victories, more than any other car maker in history. This racing heritage isn't just about trophies. Each victory feeds back into the road cars, improving technology and adding to their mystique and desirability. Can you believe that Porsche actually started racing just 1 year after the company was founded? With almost no resources compared to giants like Ferrari and Mercedes, yet they still managed to become the most successful racing brand in history. That underdog spirit is part of what collectors are buying into. Many Porsche models are made in very small numbers. The 918 Spyder was limited to just 918 cars worldwide. The 911 GT3 RS 4.0 had only 600 units made. The Carrera GT had a production run of just 1,270 cars. This careful control of supply creates strong demand among collectors. Owning a Porsche isn't just about having a car. It's about joining a community with club events, track days, and car shows. This lifestyle appeal adds to their value over time because Porsche ownership connects you to a passionate group of like-minded enthusiasts. When you buy a Porsche, you're not just getting a vehicle. You're getting an instant conversation starter and entry into an exclusive club. Now, let's talk about inflation and how Porsches beat it. Inflation means your money buys less over time. Think about how grocery prices keep going up year after year. When money loses value, you need investments that grow faster than inflation to maintain your purchasing power. Let's do a quick thought experiment. If you had $100,000 in cash 10 years ago and kept it under your mattress, you would now have the buying power of about $78,000 due to inflation. That same $100,000 invested in the right Porsche could now be worth $300,000 or more. Plus, you would have had the joy of driving it all those years. Which option sounds better to you? Porsche values grow because of basic supply and demand economics. There are only so many classic Porsches in the world, especially air-cooled 911s made before 1998. But more people want them every year. As wealth increases globally and more collectors enter the market, prices get pushed up naturally. Let me give you a real example with specific numbers. A 1998 Porsche 911 Turbo S originally cost about $155,000 when new. In 2016, one sold at a RM Sotheby's auction in London for about $405,000. That's a 161% increase, which works out to roughly 8% per year, much better than inflation over those years. And remember, the owner got to enjoy driving this amazing car during that time. By the way, did you know the Porsche family doesn't actually control Porsche anymore? In a twist of automotive history, Porsche attempted to take over Volkswagen in 2008, but ended up being acquired by VW instead. But don't worry, this corporate change hasn't affected the exclusivity and quality that drives collector value. If anything, the stability of VW's backing has helped Porsche produce even more exciting limited edition models. Another example is the Porsche 918 Spyder, their hybrid hypercar. It started at $845,000 when new, but now regularly sells for over $1 million, with some reaching almost $4 million at auction. That's an incredible return on investment for a car that you could actually drive and enjoy. The 1973 911 Carrera RS is perhaps the most famous example. Someone who bought one for about $100,000 in 2005 would now own a car worth over $1 million. That's a tenfold increase in less than 20 years, beating most stock market investments over the same period. The highest auction sale for this model in recent years reached nearly $2 million. Just let that sink in for a moment. How do Porsches compare to traditional investments? Studies and market indexes like the Hagee Index, which tracks classic car values, show that classic cars, especially rare Porsches, can sometimes outperform stocks in real estate. During market downturns, classic cars often hold their value better because they have low correlation to broader market indices. This makes them an excellent diversification strategy for wealthy investors. What makes certain Porsches worth more? Special editions, low mileage, and famous previous owners can all boost value. Cars with complete service history and original parts command higher prices too. If a car has rare factory options or comes in unusual color combinations, that can add significant value as well. Celebrity ownership creates what experts call a provenance premium. For example, Janis Joplin's 356 sold for $1.76 million, compared to similar cars worth $200,000 to $300,000. That's a premium of over 500% just because of who owned it before. Not every Porsche appreciates in value though. Focus on specific models like air-cooled 911s or limited production supercars for the best investment potential. Modern mass-produced Cayenne SUVs, for instance, typically depreciate like normal vehicles. Being selective is key to success in this space. Now, let's talk about what to look for if you want to collect Porsches as investments. The best models include air-cooled 911s, especially the 964 and 993 generations, made from 1989 to 1998. These were the last air-cooled models before Porsche switched to water cooling, making them the end of an era and highly collectible. Wait, I need to clear up a common misunderstanding. Many people think all old Porsches go up in value. That's not true. Some models like the 914 and 924 from the 1970s actually stayed flat in value for decades. It's only recently that these entry-level classics have started to appreciate as the more desirable models became unaffordable. The lesson? Research specific models before buying, not just the brand name. GT2 and GT3 versions of the 911 are particularly valuable because they're essentially race cars for the road. The rare 1973 Carrera RS with its distinctive ducktail spoiler is considered by many to be the holy grail of collectible Porsches. The early 356 coupes and convertibles represent Porsche's origins and have strong historical significance. Modern limited editions like the 918 Spyder, Cayman GT4, and special speedster models are also worth considering. Condition matters tremendously. Look for low mileage, original paint, and interior and factory options. Cars that have been modified or heavily raced typically command lower prices. Always check for complete service records and ownership history. A car with a documented history of regular maintenance at Porsche dealerships or respected specialists will be worth significantly more. Rarity is important too. Cars that were made in small numbers or had special packages tend to appreciate more. For example, a 911 Speedster will usually be worth more than a standard 911 from the same year because far fewer were made. When buying a collectible Porsche, you have several options. Auctions like RM Sotheby's or Bring a Trailer offer transparency in pricing and competition that ensures fair market value. Private sales through Porsche Club of America classifieds offer more privacy and sometimes better deals. Specialist dealers provide ready-to-drive examples, but often at premium prices. For research, use resources like the Haggerty Price Guides, Porsche forums, and expert consultations. Never buy a collectible Porsche without having a professional pre-purchase inspection done by a marquee specialist who knows exactly what to look for. Be aware of maintenance costs. Expect to spend between $1,000 to $2,000 per year on a 911 for regular maintenance like oil services, brakes, and belts. Major services can cost significantly more, especially on exotic models. A 918 Spyder, for instance, can cost over $20,000 for certain service intervals. These costs are usually offset by long-term value gains, but they need to be factored into your investment calculations. Here's a maintenance reality check that might make you laugh. Porsche owners have a saying: if you have to ask how much it costs to maintain, you probably can't afford the car. But there's good news too. Many classic Porsches like the air-cooled 911s are actually simpler to work on than modern cars. Some owners learn to do basic maintenance themselves, saving money and developing a deeper connection with their investment. Store your Porsche properly in a climate-controlled garage. Drive it at least twice a month to keep everything working properly, and get annual professional inspections. Never let fluids sit too long, as this can damage engines and other systems. Climate control is particularly important for preserving interior materials like leather, which can crack or fade if exposed to temperature extremes. Let me share some real success stories from actual Porsche collectors. One collector bought a 1973 Carrera RS for approximately $100,000 in 2004. By 2014, that same car was worth around $800,000, a 700% return in just 10 years. This wasn't just luck, it was understanding market trends and recognizing the historical importance of this particular model. Quick question for you. If you had purchased a special Porsche 10 years ago, where would you be financially today? Would you have sold it for profit or kept driving it? These are the fun dilemmas that Porsche investors get to face. Having an investment that's also a source of joy creates a unique kind of wealth that goes beyond numbers. Another example is a 1998 Turbo S, purchased new for about $155,000, and later sold at auction for approximately $405,000 in 2016, netting a 161% gain. The owner enjoyed this car for nearly 2 decades while it appreciated in value. That's something stocks and bonds simply can't offer: the joy of use while your investment grows. More recently, someone who bought a 2019 911 GT3 RS for its retail price of $187,500 could sell it today for around 30% more after just 2 years of ownership. Some of these cars are now trading hands for over $434,000, more than double their original price. Even more affordable models have done well. Many Boxster and Cayman models have risen 25 to 50% in value since 2015, letting people enter the market for under $50,000. This shows that you don't need to be wealthy to start collecting Porsches as investments. You can begin with an entry-level model and trade up over time. For most collectors, the joy of ownership is just as important as the financial return. There's something special about driving a piece of automotive history that also happens to be growing in value. The sound of an air-cooled flat-six engine revving to redline creates an emotional connection that goes beyond money. Collecting Porsches isn't just for the ultra-wealthy. Middle-class enthusiasts can start with models like the Boxster, which can be found for under $15,000 for early examples. While these may not appreciate as dramatically as the rare models we've discussed, they provide an entry point into Porsche ownership and collecting. In just a moment, I'm going to share the single most important tip for anyone looking to invest in Porsches. This advice alone could save you thousands of dollars and help you avoid the biggest mistake new collectors make. But first, let's wrap up what we've covered so far. To wrap things up, Porsche isn't just a car. It's an investment that can beat inflation if you choose the right model. Focus on rarity, condition, and buy something you're passionate about. While this strategy isn't for everyone, for car lovers, it can combine joy and smart investing in a way that few other assets can. And here's that crucial tip I promised. Always buy the best example you can afford. A perfect condition Porsche with complete history will appreciate much faster than an average one with issues. It's better to buy a perfect example of a less desirable model than a problematic example of a rare model. This principle has held true for decades in the collector car market. The data shows that certain Porsche models have outpaced inflation for decades. With careful selection and proper maintenance, these cars can become valuable parts of a diversified investment portfolio. Plus, you get the added benefit of being able to enjoy your investment, something you can't do with stocks or bonds. Remember that while collecting cars can be profitable, you should also choose models that you genuinely enjoy. The best investment is one that brings you happiness regardless of its financial performance. What's your dream Porsche? Would you collect it for fun, profit, or both? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more content about car collecting and luxury investments. Retirement? Never heard of it. Just keep driving.